Hello everyone, Timmy709 here on the No Limit YouTube channel for a deck profile for you guys this week. This week we will be covering Archfiends, and it's not exactly kind of like that traditional type of thing that you usually see people do with the Palabyrinth. Instead, it's going to be focusing a little bit more on having Pandemonium instead of the Palabyrinth, because obviously, they have to each their own type of, one of those type of deals. So, yeah, before we get started though, if you guys have a deck that you would like to get fixed in the future, obviously Deck Doctor returns next week. So if you guys have a deck that you want fixed, be sure to message it here on the No Limit YouTube by going to our channel, going to the About section, and clicking Send Message. You can either type it out as in like Monster Spells Traps Extra Deck, or you can send it to us in the form of a Dropbox link to a YDK file for Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro or Dev Pro, because I'm sure you've noticed by now that we use a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro and Dev Pro to record our stuff. So, yeah, if you guys have something you want fixed, be sure to message it there, and hopefully we can get to it in the upcoming weeks. So as for the deck at hand, Archfiends have always been one of my favorite archetypes. I've played around with both Pandemonium and Palabyrinth builds. Honestly, I don't really have a preference as to which one I like more, of course, but they're a lot of fun to play with and tinker around with. This is kind of an older build, so it kind of needs a little bit of a revision, but it still plays kind of cool. So I mean, like, it was made maybe a month and a half or so ago, something like that, and so I mean, it's played pretty nicely for me for what it is. I mean, Archfiends are usually just that fun deck that people like to play from time to time, maybe. And I don't know. So let's just get into the build, and we'll explain some of the card choices and etc. Starting off with the monsters, we have 3 Archfiend Emperor, the First Lord of Horror, 3 Archfiend Commander, 3 Mist Archfiend, 1 Archfiend General, 3 Archfiend Cavalry, 1 Archfiend, or I guess it's not Archfiend Eater. I prefer to call it Archfiend Eater, but it is Nefarious Archfiend Eater of Nefariousness. 3 Horror Guide from the Underworld, and 3 Trick Archfiend. For the spells, we have 1 Allure of Darkness, 1 Raigeki, 1 Foolish Burial, 2 Supply Unit, 2 Falling Down, and 3 Pandemonium. For the traps, we have 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, 3 Archfiend's Roar, 2 Breakthrough Skills, 1 Compulsory Evacuation Device, 2 Vanity's Emptiness, and 1 Solemn Warning. Extra deck, we have 1 Constellar Ptolemy M7, 1 Photon Strike Bouncer, 1 Tiras Keeper of Genesis, 1 number 103 Ragna Zero, 1 number 101 Silent Honor Arc, 2 Castel the Skyblaster Musketeer, 1 Evil Swarm Excitant Knight, 1 Lavolvo Chain, 1 Gagaga Cowboy, 1 number 30 Acid Golem of Destruction, 1 Ghost Trick Alucard, 1 Levier the Sea Dragon, 1 Equipped Engineer, and 1 Dante Traveler of the Burning Abyss. Obviously, when it comes to like the extra deck in your exceeds, you're probably going to end up making more rank 3s than anything else, but a lot of these other things are in here to kind of have just as in case, and part of the reason is because you do play an okay number of 4s. You have at least like 5 4s, so I mean, with Archfiend's Roar and even Falling Down, there's a good chance of you having another level 4 to overlay with and, make your rank 4 plays. And of course, with Archfiend's Roar and some of the searchability that you get from this deck, you can potentially have more than 1 5 or more than 1 6 out. So that's why we play, at least 1 Tiras and the 2 rank 6s. Of course, Ptolemy is not just like, it's not good for every situation. So having Bouncer in there to kind of add in a little bit more is part of the reason why we play actually, 2 rank 6s. I don't know if I need to explain too much else in regards to the extra deck, of course, and why there's like a lot of stuff here that you may never really see, but I mean, there's that. Of course, Dante's here to help you mill a few things here, milling, Trick Archfiend or even Archfiend Eater. Just nice to have them in the graveyard. So I mean, it's kind of, I think, the only thing I really need to explain when it comes to him. And the rest of the extra decks should be self-explanatory, except for maybe this. Archfiends in general can actually side in skill drains, and as a result, like, you can use this against opposing skill drain decks as well. Usually in the form of like Yang-Zing or even Cleaforts. So it's kind of just a nice thing to have. Just kind of adding that in. So for the main deck, this is probably one of the first odd choices. I guess this is also another one, which we'll get to in a moment. Archfiend Eater. It's searchable, of course, off of destroying anything that's level 5 or higher. and it also can help you trigger your supply unit by destroying one of your face-up monsters, as well as your Pandemonium. And I don't know if very many people know this, but supply unit will activate first, and then Pandemonium will be second, so you'll get your search thinning your deck, and then you can potentially draw into something that's a lot more important, just in case someone doesn't actually know that. But yeah, so Archfiend Eater has been, I'm just going to keep calling it Archfiend Eater, because it's part of its actual name. Archfiend Eater is actually proven to be playing pretty nicely. I've triggered it several times. I've destroyed it with Commander in order to special summon Commander from my hand, all that kind of crap. So it's just been playing rather nicely for me. I don't know. Part of me has actually been kind of tempted to throw in Curry Bandits as well. The other thing is this, and 3 seems a bit excessive. I won't really lie, maybe drop 1 or 2 of these for Curry Bandits, but being able to just normal summon it as a 2400 beat stick, attack over something, and then during the end phase trigger a Pandemonium, or even a supply unit or both, is really nice, and it happens quite a lot, at least whenever I play this deck myself, so it's part of the reason why I've kind of kept it at 3. But like I said, if I really feel like it starts to become kind of a deadish type of thing from time to time, then it might drop down to 2 or even 1 in favor of Curry Bandit, maybe. Something to just kind of keep in mind. As for other things that we kind of sort of need to explain, maybe Falling Down. It's a snatch steal. For anyone who doesn't know what Falling Down does, destroy this card if there is no Archfiend card on your side of the field. Take control of one of your opponent's monsters that is equipped with this card. You take 800 points of damage during each of your opponent's standby phases. So taking your opponent's monster, being able to overlay with it, or attribute it for something like Archfiend Commander or even Mist Archfiend, stuff like that. If you don't want to use Mist Archfiend and have it blow up during the end phase, stuff like that. Falling Down is just kind of really nice to have for that, and again, basically like every monster you have except for Torguide is an Archfiend, so kind of nice to just be able to take an opponent's monster and just, you know, do whatever you want with it, really. And I think that's about really all I need to explain. I mean, Archfiend's Roar, for anyone who doesn't know what this does, pay 500 life points to activate this card, special summon 1 Archfiend monster card from your graveyard. This, or the monster that you special summon with this effect, cannot be tributed under any conditions and is destroyed during the end phase, so it does trigger your supply unit and your Pandemonium. I guess another thing I can explain is why there's no 3 supply units. You don't necessarily need 3, and 2 allows you to draw into at least 1 copy, usually before mid-game, or at least around mid-game, which is where its importance increases. So, I don't know, that's part of the reason for that, plus we're also playing Allure, which is another, deck thinning card, basically. So, there's that. I guess if I need to explain this, just send, Trick Archfiend to the graveyard, or I guess it's Archfiend Hyris, send it to the graveyard and just get a free search. It's kind of like a Rhoda, basically. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think of the Pandemonium build that we have here. If you prefer the Labyrinth build rather than the Pandemonium one, discuss what you would change for it, maybe to accommodate your own playstyle, or things like that, or maybe something to trying to bring more ideas to the table type of deal, and see what you can kind of come up with out of it. So yeah, that's all I think I really need to go over in regards to explanations. If you guys have any questions, you're more than welcome to leave them in the comments. If you guys, again, have a deck that you want to get fixed, Deck Director returns next week, so if you have one that you want to get fixed, be sure to message it here on the normal YouTube channel by going to the channel itself, going to the About section and clicking Send Message. You can type it out in Monster Spells, Traps, or Extra Deck, or you can send it to us in the form of a YDK file via Dropbox, and hopefully we can get to it in the upcoming weeks. So, yeah, without further rambling, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, this is Team709, signing out.